Hello and welcome to another episode of Improv Sucks. I'm your host, Nelson Velasquez. And for today's episode, I wanted to tell you about a book that I feel can revolutionize the way you think about improv and the way you perform improv. But before we do that, I do want you to take a look at the like button down below. Go ahead and hit that for me. Subscribe to the channel for more improv related news, and comment down below at the end of the video if you think of anything related to this that you want to share with me. All right, let's get to it. The book I want to share with you is called Improvise, Seen from the Inside Out by Mick Napier. Now you can see my book is a bit torn up and there's a reason for this. Mick Napier, if you don't know, he is based out of Chicago. He's a co-founder of the Annoyance Theater. He's also a resident director over at the Second City. And Mick Napier is quite famous, very much well liked and loved in the city because he tends to do a lot of shows and performs improv that is really decadent but really thought-provoking at the same time. So he's a treasure, and we're so lucky to have him to write this book. Now, if you don't know what the Annoyance Theater is all about, the philosophy of the annoyance, and I'm paraphrasing here, there's a lot of more to this than what I think about it, but it's kind of improvising for the improviser's sake, right? There are four major schools in Chicago. You've got the Second City, Improv Olympic, ComedySportz, and the Annoyance. Of course, there are some other offshoots that I can mention, but those are kind of the big four in Chicago. The Second City kind of teaches improvisers how to improvise for the sake of writing written material. So putting up sketch reviews, writing screenplays, things of that nature. Now, for Improv Olympic, also known as IO, that's more improv for the sake of doing improv. Improv, showing you how to do improv as an art form and a performance piece unto itself. ComedySportz is primarily known for short form improv, but it really isn't. It's really using short form improv techniques in the middle of a long form. I kind of call it medium form. The long form being they're doing a competitive match between two different teams, and they're doing short form games within that long form. And finally, the annoyance is improv for the improviser. What does improv mean to you? How do you want to improvise? How do you want to find the tools and the techniques that you want to do in order for you to become a better improviser and being able to play with different kinds of people? So this book does a really good job of kind of laying out that philosophy and giving you an idea of what tools are available to you, what kinds of thought processes you may want to have whenever you are improvising in this manner, and giving you some actual real-world techniques and exercises that you can use the next time you go out on stage. I really like the way that this book is set up. It's kind of set up kind of anti the way we teach improv. A lot of the times when you go into improv classes, they'll teach you what not to do and tell you that you can't do those things, but then don't necessarily explain why you shouldn't be able to do those things. And as we know in improv, you can do anything you really want to do. It's just a question of whether or not those decisions that you make really good scenes or not, right? So I like the way he kind of addresses in the very beginning of the book, he addresses kind of like, this is what improv is. Here are the rules of improv, and he lays out what the rules are and kind of explains, well, yeah, I mean, sure, the reason why we have these rules is kind of like to get you not to do bad habits, but then we get you into a bad habit of thinking about the rules, and then you don't improvise. So it kind of smashes those concepts and those preconceived notions of what you can and cannot do on stage. And he starts in chapter 3 kind of with my favorite phrase of all improv. It's what I tell all my students to do, which is the title of the chapter is How to Improvise. And the first thing he says is, Part 1, do something. Do something. When you get out there, do something. Anything. It doesn't matter what it is that you do, just do something. Do something interesting, right? I tend to go towards object work, but that could be anything. It could be an annoying noise. It could be something else. But you're doing something out on stage. And I like that philosophy being kind of the first thing that you see, because if you're doing something and taking care of yourself on stage, then your partner doesn't need to worry about you. You're taking care of your part. That person needs to take care of themselves, assuming it's a two-person scene. And then you come together and you build something together. And I really like the philosophy. Last but not least, there's a section on some exercises that you can do when you're at home or by yourself things that you can do to practice improv, to practice by yourself. You don't necessarily need a partner, although partners are good, where you can continue to explore these concepts, but at least it's giving you some ideas and some thoughts as far as what you can do at home to make your craft that much better just by practicing out in the real world. One of my favorite items that I like to do when I'm by myself is I like to go to common places like a grocery store or maybe a library or something, and I take on a character and I play that character for an extended period of time. And I try to explore things like posture, accents, reactions. What does that person feel? What's their point of view? And I try to figure out those things and see if I can hold on to that feeling the entire time. Can I become that character and play it in such a way that people believe me? So that exercise is in there along with many others that are fantastic. So get the book. So you want to get this book, Improvise, Seen from the Inside Out. Look at the links below. I provided you a link to buy this book. It is, man, this edition is maybe 120 pages long. I think the second edition is a little bit longer. It's got a bit more information in it. But it's a thin book. You can knock this thing out in a few hours and learn a whole lot of things. So visit the link down below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Give me your comments. Read the book. Have you read this book? Do you recommend this book? Are there any other books that maybe I should take a look at and read and review? Let me know down in the comments below. I've been your host, Nelson Velasquez, and thank you for watching.